Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. Guys, I really have had the time of my life uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies for each and every single person who has ever believed in these franchises from the very beginning. I say this because some of the very first subscribers that I've ever seen on this YouTube channel are still here with me, and they have supported every video that I've ever uploaded about Descendants of Zombies, sharing with you my predictions and my thoughts for the foreseeable future about Descendants of Zombies. Because I've always believed that somebody should have a chance in believing in a future when it comes to your favorite characters and all these moments that have defined you for being a fan of Descendants of Zombies. How many of you attended the Worlds Collide Tour and you wished you could have been a part of these moments for forever and always, and wished these moments could have lasted for forever, that we celebrated together as fans of the Worlds Collide Tour? For every venue that you guys had the chance of attending for the Worlds Collide Tour, in every crowd there was at least one critic or multiple critics that showed up with the purpose of reviewing the Worlds Collide Tour in ways that was never meant to be reviewed. So I knew this because I've been on YouTube for a very long time, and if I was going to showcase the Worlds Collide Tour, I was going to showcase it for its true worth and the potential that existed in the heart with all the dedication your favorite stars were showing to bring this tour to life. I knew going into it was going to be one of the biggest world tours ever discussed, and if ever the opportunity came up to discuss the Worlds Collide Tour, I was going to say something nice about it. And you know something? Thousands of fans of Descendants of Zombies and fans of the Worlds Collide Tour who even attended the Worlds Collide Tour had seen my videos and had heard my voice. Because I've always believed in showcasing things like the Worlds Collide Tour for its true worth and its true value, because these stars still have a long way to go. They are really figuring out their place in the world. So they didn't deserve to go home 24 hours after giving the performance of a lifetime and hear how critics felt about them in YouTube videos, because many critics went home, took to their YouTube channels, and criticized everything from the high ticket prices beginning at $200, the quality of the merchandise when it came to the hoodies and the sweaters and the t-shirts and the posters, not living up to a certain expectation or a certain criteria. Who really cares how a critic feels about the merch quality or the high ticket prices? The reason why the tickets started as high as they did, because it was a VIP concert experience. It was one of the greatest concert experiences of all time. It was far different from Hannah Montana Best of Both Worlds, the Jonas Brothers concert experience. It was very different from concerts we had seen over the last 15 years, and it was one of the best concert productions that had ever been collaborated. And I think if there ever was a chance for people like Clarke and Freya, Skye to showcase their true worth, it was because of the Worlds Collide Tour. And then, of course, coming off of that, we had Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires calendar premiere, which was amazing, and I think that it received rave reviews for obvious reasons: the powerful script, the powerful stories, these definitive characters that we very quickly fell in love with. And I thought that Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, if anything was going to be said about it, it was something in the way of a celebration, because in all honesty, guys, you guys deserve to celebrate the release of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. You have waited on this one for 3 years. You remembered being a part of Zombies 3. Zombies 2 is back as far as Zombies in 2018, because many of us were really looking for something to fall in love with when it came to Disney Channel and Disney Plus, and Zombies really allowed us the opportunity to finally be a part of something special that at least we had a chance are really lasting for forever and seeing so many expansions off of. And if I was going to upload anything about Zombies, I was going to say the nicest things in the best reviews that I could possibly create for anybody, because one of the most difficult challenges as a YouTube creator is falling into a niche and finding a niche that will accept you for your opinions on what you share and how you feel about this niche. Because it's one thing for me to record my thoughts on this niche and tell you how I feel about it, but it's an entirely different experience when you truly tell somebody how you feel about it. And I really felt for the first time in my life that I had really reached a point of acceptance in my own life, because I was accepted by fans of Descendants and Zombies. I got to know you for the true fans of Descendants and Zombies that you were. So because I got to know you for the true fans of Descendants and Zombies that have forever and always existed within your hearts, these passions that were truly undeniable for how you love to draw your Descendants characters, you love the music, you love these characters, you all had your favorite characters and your favorite scenes and your favorite moments. And I felt the most effective way of really getting in touch with you guys was to create commentaries. If I was going to touch your heart in any way, it was going to be through these definitive commentaries that I could record about Descendants of Zombies. And I could talk about the very first moment that Zed and Addison met in the zombie safe zone. I thought that was a really harsh way to perceive zombies, because I think that everybody, regardless of what we may be going through, is struggling to achieve acceptance in a world that oftentimes, far given more credit than ever before, is very difficult to find acceptance in. And I think Disney did this in a very effective way through telling the story of Zed and Addison the many ways they did over the last 7 years. Undoubtedly, Zed and Addison held a very special place in our heart for the way their story was told, and how very quickly we fell in love with this story because we saw ourselves through the eyes of these characters, regardless of their situations and regardless of how critics felt about it, because a lot of critics couldn't make sense of it. I don't know if they couldn't make sense of it or they didn't want to make sense of it to begin with, because I saw some of the most ridiculous reaction videos that I had ever seen uploaded about Descendants of Zombies within hours of Descendants of Zombies' premiere. I remember the very first Descendants movie, and people were very harsh in their reviews about it because they felt this way about it or that way about it, how they felt this should have never happened, how they couldn't make sense of a certain scene, perhaps between Mal and Evie, who definitely prided themselves on this very beautiful friendship that really went the distance because they were there for each other every step of the way, and oftentimes when they couldn't make sense of everything going on around them, they were there for each other. And that same kind of responsibility was carried on with Malia Baker and Kylie Control's beautiful friendship, and Ruby Rose Turner was thrown into the mix. There was just something about that trio that I could never say enough nice things about, or I could never seem to get enough of, because they were there for each other every step of the way. And I think the exemplification of friendship from either franchise was put on display more than ever before. And we really saw something special in characters like Zed and Addison, Mal and Evie, Red and Chloe, Red and Bridget, because we could see ourselves through these characters because of certain situations that reminded ourselves of our own lives through how these characters were portrayed and really brought to life. The one thing that I've always noticed about a character like Bridget is just her appreciation for life. And her appreciation for life really made her my favorite Descendants character of all time. It had nothing to do with songs like Life is Sweeter When You Are in Shuffle of Love. It was just her appreciation of life and how much heart and dedication she put forth to bringing this character to life. I had never seen somebody appreciate a Descendants character and giving her life and incentive like Ruby Rose Turner did. And that's why I forever and always believe that her story is far from having been told and completed, because more of a chance can be taken on her story. If you wanted to have a spin-off movie or a spin-off franchise dedicated to the Bridget character, you could easily get away with doing it, because her character offered so much to her this franchise for her short time with the franchise. And when news first was released on social media, when Ruby took to social media saying she was parting ways with the franchise, I would be lying with you guys if I told you that my heart wasn't broken, because I really did miss everything Ruby Rose Turner had offered to this franchise. Without a doubt, she has inspired me to be a better person and to be kinder to the people that I surround myself with. And I have firmly believed that I am a better person because of what Ruby Rose Turner taught me, and the value of life being put on display in the ways that no other character had ever been able to put that on display. I know that your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars have been the victim of far more criticism than they've ever been given credit for, and they've often tried to shy away from that, which oftentimes is very difficult to do because of how a critic may feel about them. And I've even seen people like Meg Donnelly and Freya Skye take to social media feeling as if they're not as good as what they are perceived to be because of how critics have felt about them for performances they've given or how they brought these characters to life. I think these franchises are incredibly beautiful, and I think these franchises deserve more of a chance to be taken on them than perhaps ever before. Many of us have favorite characters of Descendants of Zombies, which are very different from others' opinions when it comes to Descendants of Zombies, but I have firmly believed that your guys' opinions are the opinions that have forever and always mattered when it comes to Descendants of Zombies. And if anybody is going to say anything at all about your favorite franchises, they should at least say something nice, and choose to give it the benefit of the doubt more often than enough than they've ever given it. Because when you really take the time to understand a Descendants of Zombies fan, and you win the hearts of every fan of Descendants of Zombies, you really got something special to be grateful for, and to never ever let go of. I've had the honor of not only uploading hundreds of videos about Descendants of Zombies, I've had the honor of meeting countless people who have drawn inspiration from their favorite characters and all these moments that have brought them to this moment where they become the greatest fans of Descendants of Zombies. Because as far as I'm concerned, the greatest fans in the world are fans of Descendants of Zombies. You guys have deserved to be celebrated. You guys have deserved to be honored and never ever be forgotten. And I think you guys are going to go down in history for being one of the greatest fan bases of all time, because you guys have never quit on who and what you've loved, and you've showcased your passions in countless ways. And I have seen some of the most beautiful friendships of all time spun off Descendants of Zombies. You guys have never quit on each other. You've been there for each other every step of the way. And if there's anything that you've been able to do, it's been able to outshine this criticism that Descendants of Zombies has received countless times over the years. I remember the very first premiere of Descendants, which happened back on July 31st, 2015. That was the first night that Bunked had seen its premiere, when Cameron Boyce was kind of pulling double duty, because he was one of the stars of the Bunked series, and he was also the star of Descendants. And he offered so much to this franchise because of his contributions. He will never, ever be forgotten. And while many people believe that telling the story without Cameron Boyce when it comes to the original cast wouldn't feel right, I think this is exactly what he would have wanted to see happen for Descendants. He would have wanted to see more expansion opportunities, more characters than ever before, see their introduction into the franchise. And not only that, but to have their stories told in so many authentic ways. Because oftentimes over the years we have fallen in love with stories like Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland for the way they've been represented, and they've been told countless times over the years. And I think how Disney told the story through the eyes of the VK kids was a very effective way of doing it, because there are a lot of people that are struggling with, trying to really find their place in the world. And I think Descendants of Zombies really has allowed us to feel, important and to feel accepted. And I think that's what's really defined us for being fans of Descendants of Zombies. And that's why more people than ever before are falling in love with this franchise, with over 781 million hours of stream time having happened for Descendants of Zombies. I will admit to each and every one of you, one of the first stars that I really felt for was Clarke, because she was taking to social media shortly after Descendants: The Rise of Red had premiered, and she was saying that she had missed her friends so many times, more times than she was ever given credit for. And she was feeling really emotional, so much so that she was breaking down in tears in these videos she was uploading to TikTok and YouTube. And my heart really went out to Clarke, and I wanted Clarke to know that she was doing a fabulous job and an exceptional job with really bringing this character to life in ways that nobody would have ever been able to do it. My heart has forever and always been with Clarke, and I've seemingly been taking bullets up against all these critics when it comes to Clarke countless times, and more times than I've ever been given credit for. I've done more for Descendants of Zombies behind the scenes, and more than you guys have ever realized when it comes to Descendants of Zombies, and I've supported it in countless videos that I've ever uploaded. I know that many people feel that this was only a 90-minute production after a 5-year hiatus was seen for the Descendants franchise, and many people believe that The Rise of Red should have never happened. But when The Rise of Red really became a reality and the stories of Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland characters were told for the first time in years, I think people took something to be appreciated away from this version of Descendants, because it was a very different version of Descendants, and no matter how many times you watched The Rise of Red, you couldn't help but fall in love with the characters and their stories, because each individual character had a story of their own to be told. And I think more fans of Descendants of Zombies appreciated the individual stories behind the characters Red and Chloe and Bridget more than ever before. And as we got to know more about these characters, we couldn't help but fall in love with them. And I think that we're going to see more chapters of the Descendants franchise more than ever before. I think we will see Descendants 6. I think we will see Descendants 7. Regardless of what characters come into this franchise, these characters that we have seen now that have become a part of our lives will never ever leave the place in our hearts that they've forever and always held, for how the characters were having their stories told in very authentic ways. I mean, you take Ruby Rose Turner, even though her time with this franchise was very short-lived, you couldn't help but fall in love with the character for how her story was told, and how she could sing songs like Life is Sweeter When You Are and Shuffle of Love and really give these songs life. I think Ruby was very appreciative of this character. She will never ever forget the impact this character had on her career, because it really allowed her to go on to define her legacy as one of these Descendants characters that will truly never ever be forgotten. Obviously, everybody's favorite character from The Rise of Red will be Clarke for how she was very outspoken about different things happening around her, how she could never seem to make sense of her own life. But that had everything to do with how she was really trying to figure out a place in the world, because she's still so young. So because she's still so young, she still has a place in this world to really define. Because what Clarke is going to leave behind, as well as every one of your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars will leave behind, is a legacy. And mark my words, 20 years from now, we're still going to be talking about Descendants, and we're still going to be celebrating this legacy that they have forever and always left behind. And it's something that I look forward to being a part of in this future, because there is a future to discuss about Descendants of Zombies. What's forthcoming in this future, we really don't know. But as fans of this franchise, we have something to be very excited about, and something that we are going to be celebrating for a very long time, because you had better believe this story is far from over. We have the consequences of time travel to expect in the upcoming plot, and it's something that I'm going to be really excited to be a part of with each and every one of you, because one can't expect to alter the fabric of time and never expect consequences, because off of Chloe and Red's time traveling adventure, there are consequences to expect. What these consequences are going to detail, that's what's going to make it so fun to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because I know people have been offering their predictions about Descendants of Zombies which really have never made any sense to begin with. But it's something to look forward to, because off of these consequences of time travel, it will present the opportunity, perhaps more than ever before, to create more storylines and to believe in something special more than perhaps we ever have before. Now, I may be just saying this because I've had a greater appreciation that I've taken away from this franchise every single time that I've watched The Rise of Red or its original trilogy, but I've studied fairy tales for years. And the one thing that I've realized about fairy tales is that there are hundreds of ways to tell the story of, say, Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland countless times, and each time that you have the opportunity to tell it and really experience it, you can't help but fall in love with it, because there is something special to take away from this each and every single time. And I think we've grown very fond of these characters for the special place that they have undeniably held in our hearts for what it felt like forever. I know this has been a life-changing experience for me as the host of this show, not only having the opportunity to upload videos about Descendants of Zombies countless times, but to have the honor to meet thousands of fans of Descendants of Zombies who have grown very fond of every video that I've ever uploaded. And the reality of life is, even with how many fans I have had the chance to meet, I still have thousands of people to meet about Descendants of Zombies, because there are 100,000 fans of Descendants of Zombies out there. There are 600,000 fans on YouTube who love Descendants of Zombies so much. And I've always and forever believed that you guys have deserved far better reviews when it comes to Descendants of Zombies for a very long time. And I just wanted to be that guy to come through and offer you the best reviews about Descendants of Zombies, regardless of the ratings, regardless of other people's opinions, because I know that there are opinions out there that are very far out there that seem so unrealistic about how this should happen in Descendants of Zombies, how this was meant to happen, but it never did. There is always an opportunity to tell this story, and there's always an opportunity to present new storylines. What it comes down to is how much you believe in creativity and how much you believe in these stories being told over and over again. Because there is never an opportunity to close this book and just forget about it, and there's more of an opportunity than ever before to leave these doors more widely open to be creative. And to believe in these franchises more than ever before. It's all about how much of a chance you want to take on these franchises, and how much you yourself as the fan of these franchises believe in these storylines and believe in these characters, because you can't help but fall in love with characters like Red and Chloe over and over again. And tonight you're probably going to be watching The Rise of Red for probably the 1,000th time on Disney Plus. And I've forever and always wanted you to know that I've got you guys, and I understand how you feel about these franchises and how you just can't help but fall in love with these franchises all over again, because of the Worlds Collide Tour, because of Freya Skye going on tour in February 2026, which is going to be a big moment in Freya Skye's career. She's obviously exemplifying great work ethic and so much heart and dedication behind everything that she's ever had the chance to be a part of. And I think as more people get to know Freya Skye, you can't help but fall in love with her and find time in appreciating all these definitive moments of her career. You know, at 16 years old, I was pretty much concerned with buying the latest game on PlayStation 2 because I had a massive PlayStation 2 video game collection when I was 16 years old. That was just at the turn of the millennium. And I didn't really know if I was coming or going. So you put yourself in the position of Freya Skye. She still has a long way to go, and she's really just trying to figure out her place in the world. And it's an opportunity to get to know Freya Skye perhaps more than ever before. And we felt a part of something special because of the Worlds Collide Tour and everything Freya Skye's been a part of, from the next step to Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, which was really the first opportunity for us to get to know Freya, Skye, and really become familiarized with her future. Because her future is going to be something special. And as far as I'm concerned, when we talk about people like Freya, Skye, we have to give her the benefit of the doubt more than ever before. So when it comes to uploading these videos, I have never felt more honored to have created and recorded over 700 plus videos when it comes to Descendants of Zombies and put up over 100,000 views on this YouTube channel, because you guys have allowed me the opportunity to become your voice of Descendants of Zombies, and it's a chance and it's an honor that I will never ever forget. Guys, seriously, thank you so much from my heart to yours for having made this YouTube channel your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel. It's been my honor to have been a part of this experience and to have recorded these videos about Descendants of Zombies from beginning to end, guys. We still have a long way to go, and we still have so much to be appreciative of when it comes to Descendants of Zombies, because it's a future that I'm really excited to be a part of and to share in with each and every one of you. If you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to go ahead and get that out of the way right now, because we have so much to get into when it comes to a conversation about Kylie and Freya, and so much really to believe in, because there are many people out there that haven't given up on a future for Descendants of Zombies when it comes to Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland. I have loved recording these videos, and I've loved being a part of this experience, this life-changing experience, if anything, when it comes to Descendants of Zombies. Guys, thank you so much for having loved this YouTube channel as much as what you have. Thank you so much for having watched this video. I'm going to go ahead and upload this video to my YouTube channel as of right now, never knowing how many subscribers, how many views each video is going to get. But one thing that forever and always has remained true is our heart and dedication that we've shown for Descendants of Zombies every single time that we upload videos and we have the opportunity to have these conversations, which I can't say thank you enough for your love and appreciation for. Guys, thank you so much for having watched this video and believing in Descendants of Zombies as much as what you have, because we still have a long way to go when it comes to the story and believing in it as much as what we have. Thank you so much for allowing me to have been your voice of Descendants of Zombies and believing in these two franchises as much as what we have, because this future and this story is far from over. Thank you so much for having watched this video.